Every day, a millionaire watched a woman take food from his restaurant trash. 7 days in a row. 7 days of hidden observation. And what he discovered would break his heart and change his life forever. Before we begin, tell us in the comments. What time is it? And where are you watching from? James Harrison knew hunger. Not the kind where you skip lunch or wait an hour longer for dinner. Real hunger. The kind that eats at your stomach like a living thing, making your head spin, making you feel weak and dizzy in school. The kind that teaches a 6-year-old boy that water can feel like food because there is nothing else. His mother, Margaret, worked herself to exhaustion to keep him alive. She cleaned offices at dawn, waited tables at noon, and stocked shelves late into the night. Some days she came home too tired to sit, too tired to eat. Sometimes she split a single meal between them, pretending she had already eaten. "I had a big lunch, sweetheart," she'd lie, watching him swallow the scraps. "You eat. Growing boys need food." James learned early that survival meant sacrifice. He learned that love could come in small portions, in scraps, in silent gestures. He learned patience because nothing good came easily. By the time he was 18, his mother was gone. Cancer. Too late to save. She couldn't miss work for treatment. James swore over her grave. Never poor again. Never powerless. Never hungry again. He had kept that promise. James built an empire. 7 restaurants across the city, each shining, each profitable. A penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows. Cars worth more than his childhood home. Watches that cost more than Margaret had earned in her best year. And yet, he had forgotten one thing. One thing that mattered more than all the wealth in the world. Until her. The ivy scratched his back as he pressed himself against a brick wall. Heart racing. Navy suit stiff against his skin. Silk lining and tailored shoulders like armor. He felt ridiculous. For 7 days he had followed her. Every day, at 3:47 p.m., she appeared at the back door of his restaurant. Blue scrubs, yellow gloves, hair tied back. She carefully selected food from the discarded leftovers. Steak barely touched. Bread baskets abandoned after a single roll. Salad returned because the dressing was on the side. She treated the garbage with respect, reverence, love. Managers had noticed by day 3. "Sir, should we call the police?" James shook his head. "No, I'll handle it." But he wasn't handling it. He was watching, hidden, curious, drawn. Something about her reminded him of someone he had spent decades trying to forget. She was between 35 and 40, though life had carved lines into her face that made her look older. Her deep brown skin absorbed the afternoon sun. Hair tied in a tight ponytail. Yellow gloves pulled over her hands. Her movements were careful, purposeful, dignified. Every discarded meal was treated as if it were treasure, as if it were hope, as if it were love made visible. James gripped his phone tighter. He had fired employees for this exact thing. Theft, liability, health code violations. And yet, she wasn't stealing. She was surviving. She walked through streets James had never noticed. Dirt paths, crumbling homes, fences held together with scraps of wood and wire. Neighborhoods deteriorating as each step brought her deeper into poverty's edge. His Italian leather shoes collected dust. His navy suit drew stares from people sitting on porches. Eyes measuring him, judging him. Money, power, the world that had forgotten them. James kept his distance, shame burning in his chest. And then he saw it. A small, patched-up shack. Corrugated metal roof. Walls barely standing. Dust everywhere. A metal bucket near the doorway. A place that wasn't just poor, it was survival on the edge of nothing. Through the doorway he saw a small boy. 5, maybe 6 years old. T-shirt once white, now gray. Pants too big, cinched at the waist with rope. Bare feet. But it was his eyes that struck James hardest. The same careful hope. The same learned patience. The same hunger he remembered from childhood. The boy didn't move. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He waited. The woman knelt, setting down one of the plastic bags. The boy took it immediately. Automatic. Natural. And James understood. He had spent 25 years running from the past, from hunger, from pain. And here it was, right in front of him. This woman, Grace, was like his mother. And that boy was a mirror of himself at 6. Hungry, patient, hopeful. Grace froze, eyes wide, not in fear but recognition. "Please," she whispered. "I only take what was wasted. I cook it properly. For my son." James stepped closer. His name, Samuel, 6 years old. Everything came rushing back. The hunger, the waiting, the sacrifices, the lessons. "My mother, Margaret, worked herself to death for me," he said. "She gave me food, pretending she had eaten, and I hated myself for taking it, but I had no choice." Grace softened, understanding dawning in her eyes. "I own this restaurant," James said. "I've been following you for 7 days. Watching you walk this path reminded me of something I buried for 25 years. Hunger isn't just an empty stomach. It's love. And I've lost sight of it." He wiped his tears. "You're not taking leftovers anymore. Starting tomorrow, you'll work for me. Real salary, benefits, health care, and meals for you and Samuel, fresh, prepared with dignity." Samuel peeked from the doorway, cautious. Biracial child, mother carrying him alone. James saw the layers he had never noticed before. "You are the bravest person I've ever met," James whispered, "carrying the weight of the world in yellow gloves, and doing it with more grace than I ever could." 6 months later, James still wore suits, still drove luxury cars. But every day at 3:47 p.m., he watched Grace leave work carrying meals, not trash. Every Sunday, they shared dinner at a modest table. James had built an empire, but he had finally learned the true meaning of wealth. It wasn't in money. It wasn't in power. It was in love, care, sacrifice, dignity. If this story inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and never miss a story that touches the heart.